The State of Israel came into existence in 1948. Since then, there has been a relentless conflict between Israel and the indigenous Palestinians, as well as surrounding Arab states. War erupted most recently in December 2008. In response to rocket attacks from Gaza, Israel launched a massive offensive against Hamas. Hello, and welcome to Mideast Journal, where we focus on the topics and trends that shape the Middle East. I'm Mimi Gerges. In today's program, we look at the Arab-Israeli conflict. What's the prognosis for peace? And given the level of hostility, is peace even possible? With me in the studio is Nathan Brown. He is a professor of political science and international affairs and director of the Institute for Middle East Studies at the George Washington University. Professor Brown, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
You have said that a two-state solution, which is an independent Israel living side by side with an independent Palestine, is dead. Why?
Well, it still is probably the most realistic solution to the conflict. That is to say, if there's ever going to be a reconciliation between Israelis and Palestinians, I don't see any way to do it other than dividing the land between two states. The question is how to get there. And the reality right now is, on the Israeli side, you've got a public that is disenchanted with this, convinced that even if they signed on the dotted line, they wouldn't get real peace. And on the Palestinian side, you've got the same feeling at the popular level. Added on to that is the fact that you've got really deep institutional political decay on the Palestinian side. There's nobody right now who can say, I speak for all the Palestinian people, and so when I sign, that's the final word of the Palestinians.
Well, what's the current state of the Palestinian government? You've got Hamas in Gaza, you've got Abbas in the West Bank. What's going on with them?
I mean, there was this Palestinian Authority that was set up under the Oslo Accords, and it was supposed to be the beginning of Palestinian self-government, and then you would negotiate between that government and with Israel about a final solution. For Palestinians, they said, this is the kernel of our state. But the peace process didn't go very far. And so you set up the Palestinian Authority was set up, but it didn't lead to a Palestinian state. In the meantime, there were elections. Hamas won the elections, and Hamas opposes a two-state solution. So
Hamas actually, in their charter, vows the destruction of Israel.
Yes. The closest that Hamas will go is to say, we will accept a state provisionally, and we'll leave it to future generations on what to decide. Well, obviously, that's not going to be enough for Israel. That's as far, however, as Hamas is willing to go. So now you've got, in 2006, they win the parliamentary elections. They begin to form the cabinet of the Palestinian Authority. But the party that was defeated, the one that negotiated the agreements with Israel, Fatah, doesn't really want to let go of political power. There's a strong contest between them. And basically what happens is a brief civil war. Hamas winds up in control of the Gaza Strip. Abu Mazen from the Fatah movement, Mahmoud Abbas, winds up in control of the West Bank, and they're now deeply entrenched. Neither side is willing to make the concession to bring those two halves back together.
But, I mean, what's the prognosis for them coming back together? Excuse me, because doesn't that have to be a consideration in negotiating and bringing about peace?
Absolutely. It's difficult to think of any viable peace process with a Palestinian leadership that doesn't represent all Palestinians. On the other hand, if you do bring these two sides back together, if you bring Hamas and Fatah back together, it's not only going to be hard, it's going to make any diplomatic process really difficult, because Hamas says, we're willing to bury the hatchet with Fatah, but we're not willing to do so on the basis of recognition of Israel. That's a red line for us. So you bring Fatah and Hamas back together. In other words, you make the internal diplomacy on the Palestinian front work, you make the international diplomacy more difficult. You follow the international diplomacy, and the Palestinian division becomes deeper.
So Hamas was elected in January 2006. Today, how popular are they among the Palestinian people?
It's hard to tell exactly, because you don't have real democratic institutions fully operating. What we do have, however, are a series of public opinion polls and some signs. Hamas is very sensitive to public opinion, and you can sometimes tell by how they position themselves, how popular they think they are. And what we seem to be seeing right now is something very odd. Where Hamas is ruling, their popularity is going down. Where Fatah is ruling, their popularity is going down. In other words, when Palestinians see what these people actually have to offer, they don't like it. And the other looks a little bit better in comparison. But so Hamas's popularity is rising on the West Bank, declining in Gaza. Fatah, the exact opposite.
You say that instead of focusing on a two-state solution, let's focus on a long-term ceasefire. Have there been ceasefires in the past that have been successful?
There have been ceasefires in the past. How successful they were depend on your point of view. In terms of between Israel and Arab states, there have been very prolonged ceasefires. After the creation of the State of Israel between 1948 and 1956, for instance, there was viable ceasefire between Israel and its neighbors. There's also been ceasefires negotiated between Israel and Hamas. One of those broke down last December and resulted in horrific fighting. The problem with the ceasefires that have been negotiated between Israel and Hamas is that neither side really wants to recognize that they're negotiating with the other, so they do so indirectly. What you have right now, in fact, is not a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. You have Israel saying unilaterally, we'll hold our fire. Hamas saying unilaterally, we'll hold our fire. This is the kind of solution that can go for weeks, months. I don't think it can sustain itself for years. You really need probably some much more direct attempt to negotiate the terms, even indirectly, between Hamas and Israel about what it means for them to have a sustained ceasefire.
Well, and Israel, on the other hand, feels like any ceasefire means we're giving them a chance to rearm.
Yes, and that is the real dilemma for Israel. If they want peace in the short term, and let's not even talk about peace. If they want quiet in the short term, they'll have to recognize that Hamas controls Gaza, and Hamas can control the rocket fire, and Hamas can control those attacks. What is it that they can give Hamas in order to get them to cease any attacks? The one thing that Hamas wants desperately is to end the closure, the siege on Gaza. They want to be able to move people and goods in and out. The economic condition of Gaza is absolutely disastrous. And Hamas would want to show that they can govern, that they can provide for the Palestinian people. They desperately want the borders opened. If Israel wanted those borders open, they would be open tomorrow. And so that there is a prospect for a deal there. For the Israelis, one of the things that's barring them from a deal is the thought that, okay, that'll buy us a few months of quiet, maybe even a few years of quiet. But over the long term, it may just mean that Hamas entrenches itself even deeper.
What do you think of the one-state solution that some people have been putting forward, where it's, everybody's an equal citizen and one person, one vote?
It may be a great idea in theory, although that's not clear to both sides. In practice, I don't think it would work. Now, why would it be a good idea in theory? Because it means equal rights for everybody. It's not quite clear whether Palestinians really want that, or whether Israelis really want that. To some extent, what both sides want is just to have the other side leave them alone. The Palestinians want out of Israel. Israelis want Palestinians to go away, just to stop bothering them. So to combine them in one state, I'm not sure either side would really want that. But then you've got, even if you could convince them, you've got the real big problem of how you get there. They're very concerned that, both sides are very concerned that this would be just a recipe for domination. Palestinians are saying, yes, you'd let us in, but would you really let us be full citizens? Israelis are saying, okay, we give you full citizenship rights, and within a generation, you could outvote us.
You outnumber us.
Exactly. So, in a sense, you bring about this utopian vision. It might turn out to be hell for both sides.